Re-
Hello, my name is Adriana Brito, and today I want to talk to you guys about the spread of misinformation and disinformation and how these concepts are affecting democracy and how the international community can come together and combat them. So, first, the terms misinformation and disinformation are often used synonymously, but they actually mean two separate things. Misinformation is false information that is spread without the intent of causing harm, whereas disinformation is spread with the intention of causing harm to someone, something, or harm in general. Um, Current international law on this issue is best described in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights under Article 19. I have it right here. Everyone shall have the right to hold opinions without interference. Everyone shall have the right to freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas of all kinds, regardless of frontiers, either orally, in writing, or in print. And then what also concerns my research is when these rights can be restricted, and that is when, for the respect of rights and reputations of others, and for the protection of national security or public order, or of health and public morals. So this is really the only piece of international law that explicitly talks about something regarding misinformation and disinformation. There's no specific treaty on these two topics. And what the current literature currently discusses about being roadblocks to having international law on these issues is that people, more specifically states, can't decide how they want to define these terms. The definitions I gave in the beginning of this presentation are rough definitions, but under international law, we need to have specific areas where we know when a state can restrict these rights and when they cannot. And so it's kind of a gray area where states don't agree how they should define these and what kind of violations constitute restricting these rights. And a few of these articles that I have here, they talk about the risk of actually restricting these rights. And by these rights, I mean the right to express and to have opinions. It's because right here is a prime example in Singapore. In the name of stopping false or misleading information, the government actually began cracking down on those who just simply criticize their government in the name of protecting and stopping misinformation and disinformation. So we see that there are some risks of restricting information just on the basis of saying that it's false or misleading. And what we have coming up next in this month is Joe Biden is actually going to appear before the Summit for Democracy, where sources say that he's going to introduce an initiative called the Alliance for the Future of the Internet, which this initiative, while hasn't been confirmed, it's supposed to be talking about how we may best combat cyber foreign intervention and foreign leaders interfering in elections or just spreading misinformation to cause distrust in democratic institutions. So this alliance that Joe Biden is supposed to be talking about in the Summit for Democracy could be one step closer to helping find the best solution to combating misinformation and disinformation. And this is extremely important because what we found is that falsehoods are actually 70% more likely to be retweeted on Twitter than the truth. And so this information is getting out much faster and much quicker than truthful information. And this is causing polarization in many countries around the world, both in highly industrialized democratic societies and in third world, less industrialized nations. And so what can we do now, and what are the steps we need to take moving forward to combat this issue? For now, without any treaty or specific international law on this issue, what we can do is strengthen transparency with social media platforms, because as just discussed and in these articles, we have come to learn that social media plays an extremely important role in the spread of misinformation and disinformation. And so by increasing our transparency laws and regulating these companies, we are better equipped to understand who is promoting this information and who is attempting to spread it. And this is important that we have this in international law because as of now, the business model for these social media companies is to have this misinformation just be spreading without regulation because that's what's maximizing their profits. It's keeping people engaged on their apps. And when people are engaged on their apps, they're making more money, which is their goal. So without regulation, there is no reason for them financially to change their business model. And on an individual level, what we can all do to help stop the spread of misinformation and disinformation is be aware and be critical of the information that we're not only consuming on these social media platforms or even from others around us, but to also be critical of it and the information that we are spreading. So anytime you go to like something, retweet something, or even just tell your friend about it, be critical of the information that you are spreading because this misinformation, disinformation has real effects on democracy. As we've seen, it's polarizing nations all over the world. And when we take action on an individual level, we are helping in our own way stop the spread of mis and disinformation. Thank you.